Welcome to the Wisdom to Wealth podcast. I'm excited because we have another wonderful guest who's going to be sharing her journey with us. I will be introducing her just shortly. I'm Shamar Star Cox, a TV producer and a marketing coach. My goal is to help business owners create binge-worthy content that attracts and converts their followers into customers. I am the founder of the Convert Content to Cash Challenge, so that if you want to learn how to create content that sells, if you want to learn how to create content that creates deep connections with your audience, all you have to do is comment the word challenge accepted. I will personally send you an invite to the challenge. Today we have Gretchen Hydo with us. She is amazing. She is widely regarded as one of Los Angeles' top coaches, a master certified coach through the International Coaching Federation, ICF, and a certified mentor coach. Her signature program, and listen to the name of her signature program because it is amazing, Stairway to Six. Stairway to Six. I had to say that one more time. From client enrollment to close, build your six-figure sales strategy start to finish. It's ICF approved for continuing education and equips coaches with the tools and strategies needed to achieve next level success. Now, every time I hear the name of your program, Gretchen, I can picture business owners and coaches literally on a stairway and they're walking to their six-figure success. I just think that's amazing. Gretchen is sought after. She's a sought after expert, featured in A-list publications such as Fast Company and the Chicago Tribune. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Let's just jump right into your story. Share with us, how did you go from where you were to where you are now in being successful?
So I started as a publicist, and one of the things that I realized was that I'd been a natural coach my entire life. I was doing a PR campaign for a company back in Texas, and the gentleman said to me, he was on the board of directors, "Gretchen, you should be a business coach." And I thought, what is that? And then a few days later, I was talking to a woman that I mentor, and she said, "Gretchen, you should be a coach." And I thought, wow, ding, 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 ding. Whenever I hear something, the same message more than once in a short amount of time, I know I'm supposed to be listening. I know that's God speaking to me. And so I took the jump and I went to coaching school, and I thought, wow, I have been a natural coach my entire life. And I bridged that gap. And really, the success came from having a vision, listening to God, and having the discipline to, instead of being a wantrepreneur, to being a true entrepreneur. Right?
Oh, that's so good. You said that word, entrepreneur, because there are a lot of business owners who they want to be an entrepreneur, but haven't figured out how to do it or don't have the discipline to do it yet. So I love that you talked about that. But here's my favorite part of your story. You heard something two times within 48 hours and you just knew that it was God. Have you ever gone through a season in your life where you ever doubted that God was talking to you?
Ooh, okay, that's a zinger. Have I ever doubted? You know what? No, I haven't doubted that God was talking to me, but I have wrestled with listening to God. So it's
Mm.
more like he'll tell me something. I'm like, oh no, I don't. I'm like the bratty little teen that's like, no, why? I don't want to do that. I don't want to clean my room. Why do I have to do that? Even though I know I'm going to end up doing it.
Yeah, I love that. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of us who go through it. This year, what I said to myself, I said, you know what? Whatever God tells me to do, I'm going to do it. It's just going to be a yes, right? And I feel like the faster I say yes, the faster I'll be able to get to it. Sometimes my no is rooted in some type of fear. I don't know
Always.
what's going to happen, right? But
Yes.
you know what? As you were talking, when you were sharing your story earlier, I realized that even though earlier this year I said I will always say yes, for the last couple of months, there's been a no in my spirit. Yeah,
Oh,
and I didn't realize it until you just said that. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know what? I actually have been saying no. And that's where I've been having a lot of struggle, right? And so even sometimes when we're standing in a position of, okay, I'll always say yes, that listening piece. And then the moving forward piece, there can be some hesitation. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Did
yeah.
you want to comment further before I ask you another question?
Yeah, you know what I'll say about that is the resistance happens personally and professionally. And it's exactly what you said, Star. It's that part about the fear. I can remember being engaged, and not to my husband, to somebody else, and knowing that I should not marry him, knowing it loud and clear, but also knowing, oh my gosh, everything's planned and it's paid for. And just the silliness of all of that. And I ended up not marrying him. But for me, it's always with a lot of like, but what will happen if I listen? What will happen if I don't do this thing? And you know what? It always ends up okay.
Oh, so good. I love that you shared that. How many people who are listening right now, how many of you ever felt like, but I'm already invested?
I'm
Even
already
though God's telling you to walk away, I'm already invested. And sometimes we don't walk away because we're already invested. Sometimes we're already going down one path, which is my biggest issue. I'm already going down one path, and then God just redirects me. And I'm like, why? The path's not finished yet. Right?
right.
But
That's right.
that has to come with surrender. And surrender may not always be easy, but it really works out for the best. So I know we digressed just a little bit, but
No
I
problem.
I couldn't resist. Like, it was so good. So let me ask you this question. Entrepreneurship is not always easy. So how do you overcome any negative thought patterns and limiting beliefs that you may have had so that you could become successful?
Yeah. So a lot of that has to do with faith, that if you feel and if you have made the decision that this is where you're supposed to go and this is the thing that you should be doing, and you really go with it with all your might, what I like to do is I like to challenge the thought. If I get one of those negative thoughts that come in, I will ask myself, what could I believe instead? Not what
Ooh.
do I believe instead, what could I believe instead? Because what happens is we need to play with the subconscious. So if I get a thought that's like, you're never going to get that client, and I ask myself, well, what could you believe instead? And then I ask it 3 times, what happens is you go from your head answer, which is automatic, to the mouth of what you're speaking, down to your heart of what's true. And then from there, when I get that answer, I ask myself, okay, well, if I could, again, I'm not saying I do, if I could believe that, what action might I take? Again, not one that I will take, but what might I take? I do that 3 times. And at the end of it, I've got a new thought that's more empowering, and I've got a true action.
Oh, I love that. That was a gem right there.
Right there. That's what it's like
That
to
was
coach.
amazing. Right? Yeah. And do you do that for yourself daily? Do you find yourself doing it daily, or do you feel like every quarter when there's like a shift or something?
I do it as needed. So if I'm having a particularly troublesome thought, personally or professionally, I'll grab it because, even for those of us of faith, the Bible even talks about how you really do have to capture your
Mhm.
thoughts. And so I'll say some
Mhm.
scripture over it, but if I just can't get out of it because I'm human, I will ask myself that. So if I'm caught in like that negative
Yeah.
emotions loop, negative thought loop, I will do a quick pattern interrupt to help myself to get through it.
I really love this because there's so many who can relate to just having that negative thought process or negative pattern loop, and they don't know how to get out of it. I have seen a lot of Christians, especially Christian entrepreneurs, where they may quote scripture to get out of it, but they're still having the negative thought process. But what you just shared right now was really like challenging that thought. It's
That
okay, well, this is what's popping up now, but what could I believe instead? And I think oftentimes we don't challenge the thought,
is
and so it continues to consume us. So I just think that that's super powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you this question. So you have your signature program, Stairways to Six. Share with us, how are you helping your clients to be successful? We just got a taste of it with
Yep.
shifting the mindset, but how else when it comes to scaling their business to six?
Yeah. So here's one of the things that I found when I became a coach. I found that a lot of coaches learn how the art of coaching and what you need to do, but there's a significant gap between the art of coaching and business building, pure business development.
Yep.
And so Stairway to Six is really a business development program. And what it does is it takes you through mindset, deciding that you're going to be a professional in this business. And what do I
Mhm.
mean by that? A lot of coaches and consultants are very worried about, does this person like me? Am I okay? What is this person thinking? And so they make bad business decisions based around that. But when you're in your professional self, I always tell people, be like a dentist. Your dentist isn't worried about if you like them, they're worried about fixing your teeth. Be like a lawyer. They're not worried about that. They're worried about making sure you win in court. And so when we show up in our professional self, things change from there. I also teach you how to have the discipline that you need to have in order to be a true entrepreneur. We also go through a framework of how do you find these clients? Who is your client? What do you say to clients? What's the process of connecting with a client, a potential client, giving them a gifted coaching session, proposing your highest recommendation, getting to yes or the no, either way is fine. Having that difficult money conversation. For many people talking about money, they're like, oh, no. How do you have the confidence and the courage to be a professional and to have the money conversation and then to coach them? So really, Stairway to Six gives you the confidence, the knowledge, and the practice to be able to learn how to do a successful connection call all the way to the close of the contract.
I love that. That's so powerful. And I love that you start off with the confidence and just the motivation to be
Yes.
able to move forward. Like this thought process of showing up professionally and not worrying about what others think about you. And there's a lot of us where we may struggle with that, right? Where it's like, do they like me? Well, if I say it this way, they may feel a way towards me. And oftentimes that can hinder us from doing our marketing. It can
That's it.
hinder us for even just asking for the sale. But as you brought up those examples about the dentist and the lawyer, you're absolutely right. They do not care about that. They care about getting the result.
Right. And I don't want them to care about it. I want them to do a good job, right? And so think about it. You're a coach, you're a consultant, whatever you might be in your world, and you're worried about, does this person like me? What I can already say is you're doing that client a disservice. What we need to be concerned about is, am I serving this person? Am I being provocative enough, not in a disrespectful way, to help them get the insights that they need to move forward? And if you're too worried about people pleasing, people don't need to pay you to be their friend. That's not how you make money. That's not the way you're
Yeah.
going to have long-standing business where you get referrals. People pay to change their life. And so when we can help a
Mm.
potential client connect to their vision, what is the real thing that they want, no matter what you're doing as an entrepreneur, no matter what your service is, when you can connect them to what that thing is that they really want, that's when it changes. And so people who pay attention. People who
Mhm.
pay get the life changes. If we're worried as entrepreneurs about, do they like me? You are never being truly in service.
Ooh, I mean, when you said this line just now, people pay to change their life.
Yeah,
I felt that. But
yeah,
I think
good.
oftentimes when you're lacking confidence, you're not thinking about this. You're just thinking about, will I do a good job? But the reality is, you have a gifting and you have a service that can actually transform someone's life. Like, I have a 5-day video challenge. And before I even launched it, so let's say this was December 2022. I remember declaring over this challenge that it is a life altering challenge. That was before I got any clients. That was before I released any marketing materials. I said, this is a life altering challenge. And on February 2023, when I had my first set of clients join the challenge, that's exactly what they told me. They said, this challenge changed my life. And I hosted it every month that
Yes,
year. And everyone who joined, they just kept saying, this challenge changed my life. And I realized what I spoke over it
yep.
actually manifested, because I truly believe that this product, this service here was to change life, was to change someone's life. So when you said that, that is a true statement. People do pay to change their lives.
They do. And what you did is so important because it wouldn't have mattered if there was just one person who took your challenge or 10
Mhm,
people. It was
mhm,
going to change their life. You did it with
mhm,
intention. And so it's the same thing that I do in Stairway to Six, that we spend time on mindset. And the first thing that we really look at is, what brought this person to be a coach? You have to have your big vision in front of you. If it's just, I don't know, I like to help people, we have to make it bigger than that so that you can really hook into your own value. As we look at your value too, and everything that you can do for the people that are out there, what it becomes is, wow, if I don't do this and I don't charge for this, I'm actually doing a disservice,
mhm,
not just to myself, but to the
mhm.
world.
Yeah, that is so important to really hold on to. There are some owners, and I'll talk about myself. When I first started, I didn't make that connection right away. I just thinking, no, I need to give it away for free, right? Well, that's because I had a fear of selling. So, but when I understood, like, what they're investing in is their future, is their transformation, right? They're not just giving me their money and running off with it. Like they're actually investing in the process and the system and the coach that's going to help them to transform their minds to get to the next level, to teach them a new skill set to get to the next level. And when we understand that, it makes it so much easier to show up as someone who wants to serve. Like when I think about Jesus, that's what he did.
What?
Like he sold all the time. Like every time he showed up to serve his audience. And I'm sure he wasn't worried about, are they going to like me? Because there was a lot of people who did not like him.
Well, and if anything, he knew that they wouldn't. And the other
Yeah.
thing too, if you think about Jesus and the way that he sold, served, it was about being with him. And so it's the same thing for all of us as entrepreneurs. When we are feeling like, oh, I have to sell somebody, everyone's repelled. Nobody wants to be sold to.
Yeah.
No, what they want is to be served. And that's why too, when you have a process where you're doing service the whole way through, people get enough touch points with you. So for everyone, you talked about being afraid in the beginning of selling. That's so normal. We weren't taught how to do that. So when you think about it, it's like, okay, you have that first connection call with somebody. You see if they're a good fit. Not do they think you're a good fit? Are they a good fit for you? That's the first thing. As entrepreneurs, we have to have some guidelines, some parameters about, do we just take anyone on because they're willing to pay, or do we have our own guidelines? I have guidelines about they have to be ready. And what is readiness? They have to be ready because coaching with me, your life is going to change. Are you ready for that? They have to be committed, not just to showing up for their sessions. They have to be committed to the pricing structure, and they have to be committed to follow through on what this service is. Because as much as we can have a good conversation, as much as you can help people with their marketing and their social, you can't do all of it for them. There's something that they have to do. They need to get in the game. And then the next thing is they need to have an experience with you. And so the experience with me, I usually make it either low fee or free for that first time that we do something outside of it. That way there's no, you paid, you feel disappointed. It's like, no, you knew everything you were getting up front. The way that I am is the way that I am. This is a true feel for what it's going to be like to work with me. And that way you're not selling anybody. They're either ready and committed and they've experienced you and they're a yes, or they're not. And I always say, you're either a full hell yes, or you're a hell no. There's no in between. I don't follow up with people and ask them, hey, just checking on you, because a more true email would be, hey, just checking to see if you're going to give me money. And I think people would actually like that better. Can you imagine if your subject, if you wrote just checking in to see if you're going to give me money, I might actually open that one. But the ones that say just checking on you, you're like, huh, because you don't have to check on people that want to work with you. They're telling you they want to work with you.
Oh, that's so powerful. Especially, I love that you talk about they should experience you first, either for low cost or for no cost. And I do a similar thing too. Like my challenge is it's free or low cost. And that experience is super important. When we think about Jesus, he did the same thing too. Like before he asked anyone to follow him or take up their cross and follow him, right? He either performed a miracle, he either taught them something, like they had an experience with him. Like I think about Luke 5, when he met the disciples for the very first time. They had been fishing all night. They couldn't catch any fish. And here comes Jesus like, hey, cast your net again. Now they're looking at him like, no, we've tried that. And we're the experts.
They're mad. Right. That's the other part. They're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right. But he's like, no, trust me, cast your net again. They cast their net and look, they get a huge result. Now they've just experienced him. They just experienced that he's the truth, that what he says is actually going to work. And so now he gives them the call to action. Okay, follow me, for I will make you fishers of men. But that call to action didn't come before the experience. It came after. So I loved when you share that, because I think oftentimes, I don't want to say oftentimes business owners are trying to get people before the experience. It's not true, because sometimes they have freebies, but think about the type of experience that you are creating for your audience. Like it may be something that's live. It may be some type of webinar where they actually get a taste of your coaching, a taste of what it is that you have to offer.
And the other thing to think about too with that is the skepticism. Can you imagine if Jesus wouldn't have done that miracle? The disciples would have just been like, what? And they wouldn't have cared, and they would have talked badly about him. They wouldn't have followed him. They've been like, this weird guy, he was telling me to do this. I'm a fisherman. I've been doing this my whole life. Like, what? And so it's the building of the trust. And so a lot of times what does happen is entrepreneurs go too fast. They're so worried about filling their bank account and getting a client so that they can feel like they're not a fraud, that they really are whatever it is that they're saying, and they're
Yes.
a coach, that they go too fast. And when you go too fast, you miss the service component. What we're always looking for is to take the suspicion, the what do the people call it, the snake oil salesman part of it out. We want people that no one's manipulating them, no one's forcing them, no one's telling them you have to do this or a terrible thing will happen. It's choice and transformation that does it. And so when we slow down, even right now, you notice I slowed down the way I was talking. When we slow down, when we connect, when we serve, there's no sale involved. They see it, they feel it, they experience it. And if they haven't, it doesn't mean you did a bad job. It means that the other person isn't ready.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love even how you change the tone with just slowing down and changing the energy just with slowing down. It's making me think about a conversation I had with someone. He was a master in sales, and he talked about sales being like dating. And he talked about going slow and not missing any of the steps and truly building that intimacy. And I think it was something that you said that's like sometimes business owners are moving in a space of desperation as opposed to inspiration. And so it's like, I got to make this money now. But then people can sense the desperation and then they just want to be pushed away from you. So, how can you shift from, I got to do this right now, I got to make this money now, to just really moving in a flow? Do you have an answer for us for that?
Oh yeah. And to your dating analogy, I always say that needy is creepy. Whether you're
Yeah.
dating or whether you're trying to get a client, being needy, it's super creepy. People can feel it. And so
Mhm.
this is where deciding that this is your profession makes all the difference. You have to have a professional mindset. When you
Mhm.
want to make sure that you aren't in desperation, what I tell the coaches that I work with and the business people that I work with is you're not looking for clients with an S. That means that it would be anyone that could come through your
Mhm.
door. You're looking for your next client, something that inspires you, something that you feel like you are energized by. Make sure that you have those requirements that I was talking about. What are they for you? For me, all of my clients are ambitious. They're typically
Mhm.
A-type personalities.
Mhm.
They're up to big things. They're willing to go for it and they're willing to do the work. I don't work with people who maybe I'm going to do it. I don't know if this is going to work.
Mhm.
I'm working with
Mhm.
people that are like, if I tell you I'm going to do it, it's done. You never have to
Yep.
ask me about it,
Yep.
even if you mess it up, and that's okay. So, knowing your requirement will help you with that professional mindset so that you're not needy. And it will help you to know that, oh, this one isn't a good fit. I always tell people, think of the connection call as your coffee date when you're dating. Sometimes you're ready after
Mhm.
15 minutes, you're like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out. And that's okay. You're not supposed to marry all of them. You shouldn't, but the ones that you feel that pull towards, the ones that are equally as ready, those are your clients. So serve with
Mhm.
your full heart, and that will always lead to the sale.
I love that. Serve with your whole heart and really having this idea of the personality of your ideal client. Oftentimes, we may know their pain points, we may know their desire, but what is their personality so that
That's
you
it.
are actually attracting the people that you want to serve? Like, I remember going through a phase when I first started, I used to get clients who just wouldn't do the work. I mean, it didn't matter. They would pay $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. And I'm like, if you wanted to tithe, I have a ministry that you can tithe to,
Right.
but they just wouldn't do the work. Everything else would take precedence. And so hearing you say that, it's like it really was the personality type. Like for some of them, they were entrepreneurs. For some of them, they had the business on the side, but their 9 to 5 took precedence. For some of them, it just wasn't the season for their business, but because they wanted it, they moved forward. So really understanding that personality can help because you want to create a win-win. Like when you're working with your clients, you want to create a space where they're going to be able to get the results, or you're helping them to get the results. And then they can give you testimonies on like how great this worked. So that personality piece is really huge. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll just say this too, is that a lot of times people come to me and they want to know about, oh, I need a niche. I need a niche. I need this.
Mhm.
Yes, you can have a niche if that's what you want to do, but I feel like a niche actually constricts things and it makes it that you will have less clients. Having a personality profile instead is expansive because it doesn't
Mhm.
become them about this person has to be a banker and 30 years old and making this much money. It's
Mhm.
like, it's really, these are the personality types that I work with. And you know that that's the kind of person that you're able to serve.
Yeah, I love that. And just your energy and what you're sharing even just resonated with one of our viewers. Her name is Precious, and I just put her
Hey, Precious.
comment on the screen. She said, "Today is really blessing me. You guys really have me sitting down and thinking, getting clarity on the type of coach that she is. Like that
Yes.
is so powerful." So, Gretchen, you already knew this, but you're transforming lives.
Oh, thank you. You too, Star. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me ask you this other question. For the listeners who are inspired by your story and they want to work with you, how can they connect and learn more about what you do?
The easiest thing to do would be to email me at coach@gretchenhydo.com. So I don't know if you can put that up there, but coach
Mhm.
at gretchenhydo.com. And then what we can do is we can schedule a 30-minute call just to be able to talk to one another. I also have some resources as well that I'm happy to send to coaches that it gives you some connection call scripts and some basics of what to say and what to do. And I have a video series that I'm happy to share. I've got some workshops coming up. So there's all sorts of things, but start with emailing me and then we can get a look at where you are and go from there. Oh, and good. Thanks, Star. I see that you got that there with the connection call scripts.
Yep, yep. I had a whole list of links. I said, whichever
Perfect.
one she brings up is what I'm going to drop in there.
That,
So,
that's
yep.
right. That's right. And then that Stairway to Six program, it's coming up. It starts
Mhm.
in February. It only runs once a year. If it's something that people listening have heard about and you think, wow, I'd like to learn more, you can take a look at that webpage and go from there.
I love that. And I love that you only run this once a year and
Yeah.
that your clients are able to see results either within that year or the following year. I just think that's perfect. Share some more details about Stairway to Six and what they can expect.
Yeah, so Stairway to Six, what you can expect is to leave knowing how to have that conversation. Many times coaches come to me and they say, I don't know how to find clients. You will know what to do. You're going to leave knowing who your client is. You're going to leave very confident in the connection call process. When do you connect? When do you coach? When do you propose? When do you give your highest recommendation? Who do you coach? So you're going to know how to do it because it's an accelerator. It's like drinking water through a fire hose. We practice it and practice it. I have master coaches who come in to listen to you doing your conversation so that you have it right. And then you go and you do it, I call it take it to the streets. You go and you practice it. And then on our closing day, we talk about it. But you will see results within the program as far as your knowledge and your confidence go. And you'll see the money more than likely coming in that year.
I love that. And so powerful. And it stays true to what you said at the very beginning, working with their confidence first. Because if you don't feel confident in having these conversations, chances are you're not going to close. You're
You're
going
not
to always doubt yourself and believe, I can't do this. But helping with the confidence piece first is really what truly matters. And I love that you didn't lead with, you're going to walk away with your program filled up and
no.
20 new leads. And yeah, it becomes
You
like a
probably
little,
won't. I mean, that's
yeah.
just the truth. You probably won't, but you're going to leave with knowing how to do it. The program's only 35 days. Maybe you'll leave with that, and that would be
Mhm.
great for you, but you're going to leave with the knowledge and the confidence that you need and the practice that you needed to be able to go out and implement.
I love that. Did y'all hear when Gretchen said the program's only 35 days?
35 days.
And this is why it's important for her to get her dream clients who have the personality for a 35-day intensive program.
Mhm.
Could you imagine working with a procrastinator for 35 days?
No, they're not gonna do it, and I actually too, I won't let them in the program. So I talk to everybody first to make sure that they're a good fit, because there's
Mhm.
other things that are available to people that need it slower, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But what I have found from all of the coaches that I've coached throughout the
Mhm.
years, this approach really works. It's so intense. You're in with a group of people that are doing it too. So you're not
Mhm.
alone, you're fumbling around together, and you're getting the support.
Yeah, it's the type of energy that you're creating in this program. Like with my 5-day challenge, because it's 5 days, everyone's in there is like, yeah, we're pumped up, ready to go. So I
Yep.
love that energy that you're creating for the 35 days. And they just walk away feeling super confident and ready to sell. So that's amazing. So I just want to say thank you so much, Gretchen, for being with us today. You have been such a blessing. The audience has truly been enjoying it. Do you have any final wisdom that you want to share with us?
Decide that you're a professional, act like a professional, get dressed like you're a professional. I'm wearing jeans right now. I'm not wearing pajama bottoms. Do your part. Be a professional. Remember, act like a dentist.
Yes, act like a professional, be a professional, and I'm just gonna say sell like a professional.
Sell like a professional. That's it.
Love it. Thank you again, Gretchen, for joining us. You have
You.
been truly a blessing. Thank you all for listening to us on this podcast. We'll be back again on Monday with another Wisdom to Wealth episode. Hopefully, today, the wisdom that you were able to get, take it, plant it. These are seeds. And then when they grow, they transform into wealth. Everyone, have a great day.